At every stage in life, you think about death, but teenagers especially are sort of invincible. They're not supposed to be thinking about dying yet, or else they'd be too afraid to live. And that was written by Claire Danes. And I can't help but think of Tylee Ryan. The news I have to share with y'all today comes with a motion in limine from the state of Arizona there. It was put out just a couple of hours ago by Justin Lum. I had a little time to look it over. It's very short and to the point. But I think we're going to learn something today. We are going to get a little justice through understanding. As many of you know, Tylee Ryan is in all of our hearts. We have ached for her since her murder. Our hearts are swelled for justice that needs to come her way in Arizona as well, because she also lost a beautiful, beautiful family member, which was Charles Vallow. And so we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about this latest news. And hello, Kathy Mama Bear. Hello, Just Me. JoJo, Fancy Nancy, Beach Lady, Tina Reddington. Canyon Jam says, I want the hussy to hurry back to Idaho so we can say the end. I know she will get the appeal, go through the appeals process, but who cares? She'll be the one waiting for things to happen and decisions to be made. And you said something before the live stream, Canyon Jane. You said, what is a motion in limine? A motion in limine, and many of us have been down this road already with Lori and Chad, and maybe perhaps in other cases. But a motion in limine is a pre-trial motion filed by a party in a legal case to ask the court to exclude certain evidence from being presented at trial, typically because it is considered either irrelevant, it's prejudicial, or inadmissible under the rules of evidence. Essentially, it's a request to prevent the opposing party from introducing potentially harmful evidence before the trial even begins. Key points now in learning what a motion in limine is that it's Latin in origin. In limine is Latin for at the threshold, signifying that the motion is made at the start of trial, y'all, and we've got a month to go. A little over a month to go, and the trial is going to go underway for that damn hooker. The purpose of a motion in limine is to proactively address potentially problematic evidence and prevent it from being presented to the jury, minimizing the risk of unfair prejudice. And a motion in limine, how does it work? The moving party argues why the specific evidence should be excluded based on legal rules, and the judge decides whether to grant the motion. The benefits of a motion in limine: if it's granted, the opposing party, which would be the state of Arizona, is usually the defense is usually instructed not to mention the excluded evidence during trial, preventing the jury from hearing it. And the state of Arizona does not want any of Tylee Ryan's police interview to come in. And I was like, oh, y'all, we've been dealing with different trials, and here in the crime genre community, we've learned so much. But I have never gotten used to this whole idea of, well, this trial is coming up, and this is what I believe to be expected in it. I was not even thinking about Tylee Ryan and the ramifications if Lori was able to get that police interview admitted, and that the jury could see that interview. Let me just look at you right now and say this. If Lori wanted that police interview of Tylee Ryan to be admitted, And we all know what that interview was. Why? Why would the state of Arizona not include Alex Cox's interview, huh? Why didn't they attach Alex Cox's interview in all this? You want to know why? Because Lori sure as hell, if she's getting anything in terms of advice from her Daybell team, is not going to want Alex Cox's interview admitted. In fact, the state plans to put it front and center because they have direct evidence that what Alex Cox said happened when he shot Charles Vallow, that's a crock of shit. They've got evidence, first and foremost, no DNA on the bat. They also have it where the trajectory of the bullets showed that Charles Vallow was laying on the ground when he was shot again. So that is why the state is not including Alex Cox's quote-unquote hearsay, unquote, as they are saying about Tylee Ryan. And we'll talk about that and we'll flesh it out a little bit. But let me just go through this motion very quickly, and then we're going to get into a little more justice through understanding. Motion in limine, RE Tylee Ryan, hearsay statements. The state of Arizona, through undersigned counsel, hereby moves this court to preclude the defendant from attempting to admit any statements made by Tylee Ryan relating to the shooting of Charles Vallow. Tylee Ryan was allegedly inside the residence prior to the shooting and later returned to 5531 South Fours Peaks Drive in Chandler, Arizona, with her mother, Lori N. Vallow, now known as Lori N. Daybell. The defendant was inside Charles Vallow's rental car with the defendant for approximately an hour after the shooting and before the police were able to interview her. And let me just stop there for a minute. Why in the hell? Why would she take off in his car? Don't she have a damn car of her own? Why does she want to get in Charles Vallow's rental car? Tylee Ryan and Lori Vallow Daybell drove away from 5531 South Four Peaks Drive at 7:49 a.m. and returned to the house at 8:48 a.m. The Chandler Police Department interacted with Tylee Ryan at the scene during the drive to the police station, and they interviewed her at the Chandler Police Department. Now let's get to what the state says is the reason that they should not include Tylee Ryan's statements. Does this mean the interview? Or does this mean that Lori would give another stupid ass crock of shit to a jury just like she did Kobe Ryan, telling him that Tylee murdered her brother and all that stupid ass shit? Is it that the state doesn't want Lori to go in there and say, well, on the way to get JJ some breakfast, me and Tylee talked, and Tylee told me she was so scared of Charles Vallow? Or does this involve the interview? So let's look at it. Let's look at the rules of evidence in Arizona that the state cites. Arizona Rules of Evidence, Rule 801C. And that is hearsay. And it's defined. Hearsay means a statement that, there's two definitions of it. Number one, the declarant does not make while testifying in a current trial or hearing. In other words, Tylee Ryan never was a part of any court proceedings. She was never, there's nothing in any transcript in any court hearing other than to say, I'm sure Lori's going to pull it right out of her ass about these court hearings where she talked about Tylee being molested and stuff, which of course the judge will say is absolutely irrelevant. That's the only time in Tylee's statements, they said from what my understanding is, when Tylee was a little girl, the people that interviewed her at the Department of Children's Health and Welfare or whatever it was, that they felt like she had been coached, okay? So I don't see what this prior court proceeding, if Tylee made statements that was in a transcript entered in terms of Joe Ryan, that would not even come into evidence. Because I was like, has Tylee Ryan been a part of any court proceeding as it pertains to this hooker and Charles Vallow or anything past that? Of course, we know, obviously not in Idaho, because Lori wasn't there about a week before she murdered her daughter. And by the way, let this girl freaking rest in peace. That's what I'm talking about. But the declarant does not make, while testifying at a current trial or hearing, we know that that's not applicable. And a party offers in evidence to prove the truth of the matter asserted in the statement. And y'all, that's where there's a tiny little sticking point, because Lori's Daybell team could say, we want to bring this in, but we're going to say, and you tell the jury, this is not for the truth asserted. Y'all have heard that phrase before. Perhaps if it was entered. And I don't believe that the judge will allow it, but if he does, they could get it in that way. Any statements by Tylee Ryan about the incident are out-of-court statements that would be offered for the truth of the matter asserted, and any statements made by Tylee Ryan to the defendant, the Chandler Police Department, which would include that interview, or any other person about the shooting of Charles Vallow on July 11th of 2019 are hearsay and therefore inadmissible at trial. So who could Lori get to say, well, let's just for sake of argument, Lori got Summer to say, well, Tylee and I talked, and before Tylee was murdered by her mother, Tylee told me the whole story and all that. That's hearsay. So anyone that you could think of that would say something, and I don't know who in the hell would come to that damn hooker's defense anyway. But here's a question. Is a police interview of a deceased Tylee Ryan, is it hearsay? Is it? Yes, it is hearsay. Parts of a police interview can be considered hearsay, but it does depend on the circumstances. Hearsay is a statement made outside of court that's used to prove something is true. Police reports usually considered hearsay and not admissible in criminal cases. So Lori's team there, or Lori or whatever, if she's got this, she's already blaming Tylee for the death of JJ. If she's trying to bring this in on Tylee even more, you know what's interesting about it? In her freaking damn allocution or whatever the hell that was, at her sentencing hearing, when she said, Tylee said you did nothing wrong and blah, 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 blah. And Tylee's happy, and she told Kobe, she's at peace and blah, blah, blah. She has done nothing but absolutely shit all over her daughter and blamed her daughter for everything. And it's disgusting. But then again, what do you expect from an evil, diabolical woman who's demon-possessed in my view? Also, police officer statements. Now, I don't see that Lori would call any police officers up there to say, yes, I interviewed Tylee and this is what Tylee said, because, again, according to the rules of evidence in Arizona, it wouldn't be admissible because it says right here, an officer's statements during an interrogation may be hearsay and aren't automatically admissible. So you would think, well, that's a police officer who interviewed her. Yeah, that'd be admissible. No, not in Arizona. Witness statements. Statements in police reports may be hearsay, but can be admissible if used for a purpose other than proving the truth of the statement. And again, that's where the sticking point is. Exceptions to the hearsay rule, and trust me, y'all, I've got it right here. There are 24 exceptions under Arizona Rules of Evidence 803. Exceptions to the rules against hearsay regardless of whether the declarant is available as a witness. And we know Tylee's not available as a witness because her mother murdered her. But again, exceptions are a police officer can use their report to refresh their memory while testifying. A witness statement may be admissible if it's offered to prove notice or if it's admitted under a hearsay exception. A defendant's statements made during an interrogation aren't hearsay because they're an admission of a party opponent. In other words, Lori is she is a party opponent, and her statements made during an interrogation aren't hearsay because she is the defendant. So although Lori would love to drag her daughter into this shit, if the judge would allow it, he would only allow, I'm assuming, parts of her statement in her police interrogation video. I don't know about the whole interrogation, but it would be for the truth, not for the truth asserted. And the jury would get instructions on the definition of what that means. And many of y'all already know what that means. It means it was a statement made, but we're not saying that's the truth, right? A dead witness's statement is generally considered hearsay, but it can be admissible in court if it falls under a specific exception to the hearsay rule, such as a dying declaration. And y'all, I hate to bring it up, but I'm going to say it. I don't want to say it, but I need to in order to fully flesh this out. There was no dying declaration from Tylee Ryan that we know of. And I shudder to think what she thought before she was taken out. I mean, they destroyed that beautiful young woman. They just destroyed her. But this exception allows the statement to be used as evidence even though the witness is deceased. In terms of a dying declaration, that's not even applicable, but just to fully get the whole deal on it. Now, the key points about hearsay and dead witness statements is that the hearsay definition, a statement made out of court that is offered to prove the truth of the matter asserted, meaning it is typically inadmissible unless an exception applies. And of course, we already talked about dying declarations and unavailability requirement. To use a deceased witness statement under an exception, the party offering the statement must usually prove the witness is unavailable due to death. And the state would use that exception, y'all, because there's no way to leave Tylee Ryan out of this. I mean, if y'all think that there's some way that they can shield Tylee Ryan, if the state filing this is like, we want to leave Tylee Ryan out of this completely, it can't. It can't be left out. So the question is, what does the defense want to use Tylee Ryan for? And really, what is the state going to present in evidence to show Lori's guilt on the murder of Charles Vallow? So generally speaking, okay, because we all have followed these cases of Lori and Chad, this whole situation with Charles Vallow, Brandon Boudreaux. Generally speaking, let's remind ourselves very quickly of Tylee's interview with the police. And I challenge any and all of you to go back, listen to the interview, take what you've learned about the hearsay rule in Arizona and apply it to what she is saying. I will give examples that I see, but this is not a full accounting of her interview. This is just generally speaking. In Tylee Ryan's telling, she awoke on July 11th of 2019 to an argument between Charles Vallow, her mother, and her uncle Alex Cox. She told police that she grabbed a bat from her room so she could feel safe and have something in her hands. She then ordered Charles Vallow, who looked angrier than she'd ever seen him, to back away from her mother. She said, obviously, I didn't hit him or anything with the bat. It was kind of just for, like, security, I guess, to know that I had it. Vallow then took the bat from Ryan, she said, and Cox pulled him backwards, prompting her and her 7-year-old brother to flee the house. I ran out the door and sort of just stood there with my little brother, said Tylee. Tylee told police she heard a loud noise, which she thought sounded like a baseball bat being swung against the floor. When her mother came out of the house, Tylee said she told the kids to get in the car and they went to Burger King. Okay, there's a hearsay statement right there. Tylee saying, Mom said, get in the car, we're going to Burger King. And to top it all off, some of y'all believe Tylee saw the murder. Okay, some of y'all believe whatever theories that y'all believe. But you got to look at it in the lens of hearsay. Tylee could be seen crying at one point in the 2019 police interview. At another time, she talks about having to sleep with a bat next to her bed because of the volatility in her young life. It wasn't like, I'm going to take the bat and do something with it, Tylee explained. It's just like I need something in my hands to feel safer. Tylee said she grabbed a baseball bat and left her room. It was just like first instincts, and the bat was right by my bed. In the hallway, Tylee claimed her mother, Lori Vallow Daybell, was arguing with her stepfather, Charles Vallow. Tylee said her uncle, Alex Cox, was also standing protectively behind Charles Vallow. I honestly couldn't tell you what they were saying. It was kind of all just jumbled up in my head, she told the detective. And really think about that. If Lori had told the police in her interview, or Alex, this is what I exactly said to Charles in the presence of Tylee, and Tylee would have repeated that would have corroborated. But she says she didn't know what was said. And let me tell you something. I'm not Tylee Ryan. I wouldn't begin to believe that I could understand being in a moment like that. But if something like that happened, I definitely would kind of know what was said, don't you think? According to Tylee, she then stepped in between Charles Vallow and Lori with the bat. She said she pointed it out towards Charles Vallow. They were both just yelling, and he was like, if you hit me with the baseball bat, you're going to go to jail. He was mostly the one yelling. My mom was just responding. I stuck the baseball bat out there, and he just grabbed it and tried to take it, so I held on to the end. And eventually I fell, and he took it into his hands like he was going to do something with it. Then my mom told me to go outside with JJ. That again is a hearsay statement. Tylee said she ran outside just as Charles Vallow stepped back, almost as if someone had pulled him back. Tylee assumed it was Cox who pulled Charles behind him. Tylee then said she ran outside. I ran out the door, and then I just kind of stood there with my little brother. He was in the front seat of the car, and so I opened the door and stood there. He was trying to get out, and I was like, no, we have to stay. She then told detectives her mother eventually exited the house and the trio left. I heard a noise, which I know what it was now, but it sounded like someone took the bat and hit it really hard against the floor. Tylee said she asked her mother if her uncle was okay because she feared Charles Vallow would hurt him. Again, Tylee's talking about having a conversation with the hooker there, her mother. Overall, what I'm reading you is hearsay anyway. But even if they allowed it, they would have to leave out all kinds of stuff. And again, why not, in a motion in limine, include Alex Cox's version in his police interview? Because it doesn't back up their bullshit story, that's why. Charles Vallow wouldn't have harmed a hair on anybody's head. She told detectives her mother told her he was fine, and they were talking about Alex Cox, and they were going to take JJ to school. Again, hearsay. It appears Tylee did not witness the shooting or the minutes leading up to it. She also told detectives after the shooting, she ran inside the house to get her mother's purse, but but turned everything out and didn't see anything or hear anything. Tylee's account also seems to contradict the versions Lori and Alex shared with detectives. And so there you go, y'all. There you go. That is generally speaking. The whole interview, go back if you wish, in terms of hearsay, and listen to her interview, Lori's interview, and Alex's. Some of it lines up, but little details do not. And no, Joe Ryan didn't do what Lori had. Lori was disgusting to do that to her daughter. Canyon Jam says Tylee's DNA was on the bat, not Charles's DNA. The Bethy Boop says, I wish Charles had the bat. Things might have been different. Well, according to Tylee Ryan, he took it away from her. And think about that. Alex said that Charles hit him with the bat on the back of the head, right? Hi, Sheemal. Hi, Philly. Hi, Trevor Lebeck. Charles didn't touch the bat, made up by Aloho, says Trevor. Hi, Vix Tex. Lori coached her, I believe, says Lena Howry. Right, Rajo. None of Tylee's DNA on the bat. Thank you, Fancy Nancy and Kathy Mama Bear. I really appreciate y'all being here. She sent her back in for her purse, says Just Me. Just Me says she said exactly what Loho told her. Thank you also, Just Me, for modding, if you are. I don't know if you are or not. If I thought there was a fight going on, I wouldn't send my child back in. Well, Just Me, she sent, Lori sent her back in because she already knew Charles was dead. And Lori is a coward. Lori's gutless. And really, this comes down to, y'all, we are going to have to get ready for Lori's trial at the end of March. And this decision is going to happen. And when it comes out and the judge decides this, on what statements are going to be brought in, I'm waiting to see the response from the Daybell team there on whether they really even want to use Tylee's statements or not. Jill Schneider says, Lori coached her. I'm with everyone else. Oh, you're welcome, Canyon Jam. Oh, difficult research in here. Hey, Kresha. Hope Grace, thank you for being here. Y'all shared a lot of good points with me as well. Hi, Susan Honecker. Hi there, everyone listening while I work, so won't be able to respond until later. I caught the live 24 minutes in. Just glad to be here. Well, Cresho, everyone's going to want to know your response to all this. I mean, the bottom line is that, I looked at it when I first saw it and I thought, is the state trying to keep Lori from continuing to degrade and spit on Tylee's grave? Or is it that the state is trying to cut her off at the pass? But y'all, even the state's going to have to bring in Tylee Ryan somehow, some way. She can't be left out of the whole situation. She was there. And the state could argue, well, she left out the door and didn't actually see the murder happen. Makes no difference. The bottom line is the state of Arizona has got to bring Tylee Ryan into this. It's my opinion that Lori could try to, her being her own witness, right? She could say, Tylee said this or Tylee said that after we got in the car to go to Burger King. Anything. The state is right now preparing to take the hooker to trial, and they're trying to exclude things that Lori can't. Do you think they don't know about her telling her stupid ass story to Kobe about how Tylee murdered JJ? I mean, come on. I think the state of Arizona needs to include those recordings to show how freaking evil that damn woman is. Hi, Norma Guerrera. Vixtech says Arizona needs to clean their dirty laundry. Well, Cresha, what's happened is the state of Arizona has filed a motion in Limine, and I'm sure you're aware of what that is. They're trying to exclude hearsay statements of Tylee Ryan. And what I'm trying to get at in looking at the case law, the hearsay exceptions, is that the state is going to have to bring in Tylee Ryan's interview. I don't know how else they can keep that out. So if that's the case, does that mean that they're trying to keep Lori from saying that Tylee made other statements other than that police interview after the death, or even statements before he was murdered, right? Just Me says Loho is going down and not in the way she's accustomed to. Oh, trust me, Just Me. She's going to be going down a lot when she gets to Pocatello Women's Prison. Hi, Margie. How are you? Oh. I think we need to ask the expert, y'all. Opie wants to know how everybody's doing on this snowy day. Look at him, y'all. He's got the angel kiss on his forehead. Look at that. Look. He thinks his mama's a nut. I am, you know. Isn't he sweet, y'all? I love that boy. I love him, y'all. He's the Ray dog, y'all. He belongs to all of us. Opie. Difficult research says, I made new mark saying number 153745 guilty as F, hidden in plain sight, saying it without saying it. OMG, I'm going to have to read this motion. Yikes, how are they going to do this? Well, the state is going to have, think about it, Crescia. The state is not saying we're going to keep Tylee Ryan completely out of this trial. That's what I thought at first. I'm like, oh, the state's like, keep Tylee Ryan out of all this. There's no way that can happen. And I know the state of Arizona will do their level best to be respectful and all of that. And, showing a pattern. We haven't even gotten a ruling yet on this, 404B, on whether it can be brought into this Arizona trial, what she did in Idaho, to show a pattern of her murderous, evil, diabolical crap. Yes, Nancy, it's cold here. It's like 17 degrees here. Hi, Jennifer Sukup. It's 13 degrees, says Lena Howry. Oh, thank you, Susan Honecker. He is a special, special boy. Y'all, all I know is Tylee Ryan, she will speak from the grave. She already has to millions and millions of hearts. We've all sought justice for Tylee Ryan and JJ and Tammy and also Charles Vallow. And, the bottom line is that Tylee Ryan, her mother has done nothing but shit all over her and blamed her for everything. And yet, at the same time, on the other hand, she wants to say Tylee's all happy and busy and all this other stuff, and that Tylee isn't hurting anymore. Of course not, because they murdered her ass. Just Me says all the victims deserve justice. Trevor Levesque says 14 degrees in Ohio. Just Me says 19 degrees. Canyon Jam says, that is the cutest darn dog I've ever seen. I start baby talking every time you show him. Crazy wiggle time. Goo goo gaga. I know. I get the same way. I do that with human babies, little puppies. My voice changes all of a sudden. I can't help it, y'all. Yes, Fix Tech. She is absolutely out there. Tylee is absolutely going to have to be brought up in this trial. And it was something that I didn't think about. We were so focused on getting justice for Charles and Brandon, specifically Charles Vallow. And I know that if you want to really get close to knowing Charles Vallow and really his presence, you need to get with Crescia K. Easton of Difficult Research. Because I feel like she absolutely, he is with her. Charles Vallow is with Crescia, y'all. Y'all can take that for whatever you want, but I know it to be truthful. But the hearsay rules are simple in Arizona. You would think, well, they're dead. They can't, well, there's a police interview out there. Not only that, in terms of exceptions, say they didn't have a police interview of Tylee. Say they went on, they didn't have a body cam, but they talked to her at the house and they wrote down in their notes and stuff. Some of that could be admissible. For what reason, y'all? To not assert the truth of the matter, but just thrown out there. And, could you put it past the hussy to want to present anything that is not the truth? That's her freaking MO. She's a diabolical, evil freaking witch. Vixtech says, God bless Charles Vallow and his sons. Yes. Well, y'all, I want y'all to know that Mr. Wayne and I are going to be in Atlanta over the weekend. I'm going to try to get with y'all over the weekend. We're going to the NASCAR races in Atlanta. And I'm going to be freezing my butt off, but I do have some Arctic wear. You know, those diehard NASCAR fans you hear about? There it is. Yeah, we're going to the Atlanta races for the weekend. Wayne just got back last Monday from Daytona. He was supposed to stay 2 weeks, but his best friend's wife, she's got dementia, and he had her best friend staying with her, and he got worried about her. Nothing was wrong with her. He just got worried, so he didn't stay the 2 weeks, and so Wayne came back and all that good stuff. So, yes, just me. That's another good thing about next week. It's going to start to warm up again. We don't play, Vixtex. Yeah, thank you, Rita Lou. I appreciate it. I will, Lena. I will. I'll try to get with all the Rays and others. I know some of y'all like to see a little bit of here and there what old KJ does. But the bottom line is this, y'all. We're going to have to deal with whatever Lori is able to get by with in terms of bringing Tylee Ryan into her defense. And you already see where she's gone with Kobe. And you already know she's representing herself. And I'm just saying this right now. The state of Arizona is trying to cut this off at the pass on her side of things. But if she can put the blame on anyone else, and it's my theory that she's just going to continue to go with the bullshit story that her and Alex and Tylee, I'm sorry, y'all. I just don't believe that story. And I don't know that if Lori, they were gone an hour, and that was brought out in that motion, that they were gone, to take JJ to school, whether the mother, whether Lori told her this is what we're going to say, or whether it was pre-planned beforehand, I don't know. But I just don't believe for a second that it went down the way that Lori, Alex, and Tylee said it was. We all have already said that we think that perhaps Tylee was also murdered because she had a lot that she saw, Yes, Fancy Nancy. Crescia, we're all here for you. Definitely. She's going to buckle in her response, y'all. If so, we are here for it. Well, listen, her Daybell team is going to respond. If she does this in handwriting, you're going to see the personal attack of the demon coming out in the hooker about how she wants to bring in Tylee Ryan. And I wouldn't be surprised if her response to this motion in Limine, she writes out, Tylee was integral in showing that Charles tried to hurt us and it was all self-defense. Give me a break. Give me a break. Trevor, I believe that the jury will be on their toes. I've prayed every day, and I know many of y'all had your thoughts, your prayers. Some of y'all don't pray, but some of y'all just have a good thought pattern and feelings about it that this jury, whoever they pick, will damn put her ass into the category of a freaking murderer. Because she already is a serial killer in Idaho. Hope he's down here chewing up my pages, y'all. Right, the Bethy Boo. Lori didn't want to be, she didn't want to see her handiwork on the autopsy photos in her trial. Well, you know, she can shit in one hand and hope in another. And I hate it. I hate it for the victim's family there that they would have to see Charles Vallow in his autopsy photos. But y'all, it's just the way it is. There's nothing we can do about it. And I just thank God I don't have to see that. And the public at large doesn't have to see that. Some people would go to the trial and see that. More power to them. The bottom line is I couldn't do it. Canyon Jam, good point. Is it hearsay? Is it hearsay if the state of Arizona played Charles Vallow's the body cam footage? No, it wouldn't, because he's the victim. He's the victim. That's not hearsay. She is so evil, Lena. She is. She is a serial killer. Just Me says, I pray for wisdom for the jury, judge, and prosecution. Yes, Trevor Levesque. It's proof. Also, you got to ask the question. When you listen to Tylee Ryan in her police interview, and it lined up some with Lori and Alex, but even there was some that wasn't. Can a jury get past that and say, you know, yes, I just watched Tylee Ryan's police interview, and the defendant here is putting on a case that this was all self-defense and that Lori didn't actually do anything. She left. That's going to be the sticking point, y'all. Conspiracy to commit murder. Lori didn't have to be in the room when Alex did it, but some of y'all believe Lori was right there. He took a shot and she took a shot. Or she shot him altogether, you know. Maybe Tylee was scared of losing her mother and went along with it. I hope my uncle's step counter app was logging geolocation, says Crescia. Well, we know that 404B about Charles Vallow couldn't go into more specificity in Idaho. So there's a good possibility that we're going to see a lot of evidence that we didn't see in the 404B. We got a little glimpse in Idaho to show a pattern of her evilness. But this is going to be narrow, and it's going to be lensed in on Charles Vallow, and he is going to get justice, Crescia. Crescia, I love KJ said Charles is with you. Every time you talk about the songs, I think they the same thing. Or recording her ass. Well, I'll tell you what, Crescia. The state would have to wouldn't they have to bring in evidence of her affair with Chad? Perhaps during the time she's sending those stupid ass dancing videos, twerking to Chad Daybell? It's disgusting. It's nasty. Just Me says, wasn't the state president on the call to hear Lolo threats to Charles? I don't know, Just Me, but if that was true, wouldn't that be considered hearsay? Wouldn't it? If he recorded her ass, then I'm sure she deleted it along with her stupid dance vids from Chad. I picture Flashdance every time. Yeah, her sitting in a chair, pulling a cord and water coming down, y'all. You know what? You just gave me an idea, Crescia. I think I'm going to do Flashdance, and I'm going to be dressed up as Lori when she gets convicted. We're going to have the after conviction party, and I'm going to do Fast When There's Nothing But a Slow Moving Dream that your fears seem to hide deep inside. What a feel. I'll get the leg warmers and everything. I'll have to stuff a bra real big, though, to kind of give myself more of a chest. And I'll probably have to wear one of them rubber suits to kind of look like I'm one of those dancers from Flashdance. Wouldn't that be? What a feeling. Da, 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 da. Oh, it's going to be a feeling when Charles Vallow's family members step up there and at her sentencing, which ain't going to make a damn bit of difference because her ass is going back to Pocatello to get in the lick club, if you know what I mean. And I can't wait for their victim impact statements. I can't wait for it. It's just breaks my heart to even think that any of y'all have to do that. But it's still, it's in memory and respect and honor of Charles Vallow. And that's the way I look at it. Yeah, Cresha, I'll run in place real fast and then I'll pull a muscle and then I'll just kind of like fall down and drag myself away. I go, gosh. Yes, you're right, Vix Tech. Lori treated his family like shit. She's fried already, says Fancy Nancy. Billy, are you laughing at me? Opie, Billy is laughing at me. What do I need to do about that? We're with you, Crasha, says Trevor. Oh, goodness gracious. Yes, Fancy Nancy. I'll put leg warmers on Opie's feet and, a cute little scarf, and he'll dance around with me. Actually, y'all, he does. He gets on his hind legs and jumps around like this. I am not lying. It's so cute. All the previous guilty convictions are waiting for her in Pocatello like a giant python in her cell corner. Think of it, winding its way slowly around its prey. Good one, Canyon Jam. Yes, Jennifer Suka. OKJ would actually do the leg warmers. If I could burn an effigy of the hooker, I can do that, And I'll tell you, I was not planning on covering this. Y'all know it. The Rays know it. But when she said she was going to represent herself, my ass was in. Don't freak me out now, Crasha. With mirrors, just don't make a portal by pointing two mirrors at each other. Or getting in my closet, huh, Crasha? So anyway, let me just ask a quick question to Cresha, and then I'm going to hang it up. Cresha, we need to hear from you about this news and this motion to limine. It's only 2 pages long. I know you're not the legal type, but you can look at it, and I want you to brainstorm because you know what this hooker is capable of. And please put a live stream thumbnail up and let us know what you think her MO is going to be about bringing in Tylee Ryan's testimony if in fact the judge allows it. We want to hear from you, Cresha. It's just hypothesis and theory. You know this situation better than anyone else. And so I want to hear from you. I'm going to be in the comments if you do indeed do it. I want to hear what you think. What will Lori say? Can Lori bring in what she's told Kobe Ryan? It would be devastating. It would be devastating. JoJo says, Cresha, yes, you should lay it out exactly. Vix Tech says, Tylee is still being victimized, Cresha. We need to hear from you. Cresha says, I promise to do a live regarding this motion. Definitely. I have to process it because it seems weird to map a strategy minus Tylee. Right, right. Now, Kresha, it comes down to a simple question. And then you branch out from there. And that question is, if we know the state has filed this motion in limine to try to exclude Tylee Ryan's statements, if that indeed includes her interview, police interview, or statements made after she left the house, what is it that Lori would want Tylee to say? What would Lori want Tylee to say to make Lori look innocent, right? It's very simple. And you know this situation better than anyone. And I know Jason will help you as well. I don't want to hear from anyone else other than you, the Rays. I know that y'all have thought about this. We've been dealing with this for 5 years. And I just want some justice through understanding. And it can't just be what OKJ thinks. It has to be the ones that really know about the theories, the hypotheses, and all of that. Kresha says, I hate the fact Tylee is still being victimized by her wretched mother. Sickening. Who else could the state be omitting? Or better, what will this trial look like? Yeah, I need to process. Well, again, here's another question that I said at the beginning. If they're going to include Tylee Ryan in there, they want to exclude Tylee Ryan's statements, why aren't they excluding Alex Cox's statements? Tylee Ryan is dead. Alex Cox is dead. Both of them did police interviews. I can tell you why. Alex Cox, his story about when he fired on Charles Vallow, it's already been shown through direct evidence that his version of it's a crock of shit. And the jury can see that. They'll be able to see that direct evidence. The trajectory of the wounds and underneath Charles on the floor and all of that. Okay? I know it's painful to hear me say that. But Charles Vallow's spirit is alive and well and happier and freer than he's ever been. And we're going to hear from you. I know we will. There we go. Daddy's home. Daddy's home. So Mr. Wayne just came through the door. I appreciate all the Rays and others for going over this motion in limine. I hope you learned something about it. Leave your comments on the rewatch. Kresha says whether I can file it or if I will file it, another story. May pass it on to Mom and Larry and let them file RICO on these flipping criminals. So I'm going to be looking for you, Kresha, and I'll put it on it used to be the community wall, but now they've made it into posts. So I'll put your thumbnail if in fact you and Jason do a little brainstorming and tell me, would Lori go so far as to try to bring in lies that she says Tylee Ryan made to her that proves that Lori was just, I'm so innocent of this, right? We love you. Wayne and I. Wayne, you want to say hi?
Hello, everybody.
And I'm going to get with the Rays this weekend while I'm in Atlanta. If we hear any more news, you know I'm going to come to you. And be looking to Difficult Research with Kresha K. Easton. She's going to be coming out with something, I'm sure. I love you all. Thank you, Fancy Nancy, Just Me, Kathy Mama Bear, all of y'all. Thank y'all so much for being here. And keep on looking.